I was trained as a physicist and I worked quite a long time as a scientist. I love technologies because it's my training, isn't it? It doesn't go away. You can see my nice drone there. It's because I can see immediately use of it when my roof's not working. If you have a drone, you can see where the holes are. In Hackney, people live in the council flats and they didn't have any spaces to play or they couldn't afford the toys. So we set up toy libraries and I was one of the first toy librarian. There wasn't any toys which can show the multicultural aspects of life. Dolls were only white dolls. You couldn't buy black dolls. And we didn't get any male doll at all at that time. So that's why I have got a collection of dolls. I was born Sikh and I socialized in Sikh religion. Having a religion is like your mother. Your mother is your religion, and somebody else's mother is their religion. Everybody loves their mothers. In fact, you have to go with them to respect their mothers. I got this golden Buddha. My son is married to a Buddhist woman. I have Catholic icon. My brother's married to a Catholic woman. I have a Jewish icon. My sister-in-law used to be Jewish, then converted to Catholic. It's not to do with a belief, it's the family, isn't it? So my family belongs to all different religions.
I grew up in Aldgate, E1, and I was never moved out of the area apart from one phase when I got married to North London for 12 months. Then I returned to the East End. Memories are good. Memories are good. There's not a hell of a lot of memorabilia that I carry, but just a few things. Photos mean a lot. I'm unfortunately a widower, no children, many friends, an ex-cab driver. My Capotamonte. He's my friend. He's part of the family. And I christened him Ike. I don't know where I got the name from. Now, my match collection arises from holiday times with my wife and myself. Phoebe's in every restaurant, and it's just a little bit of memorabilia to look at every now and again, but they're not sad times. I've got great pleasure because I've got photos and all that. I had one box of matches acquired over the years was when my wife worked for Asprey's, the Queen's Jewellers in Bond Street. But she died, unfortunately, of a build-up of senile dementia. The frogs with memories of her living in Southern Ireland on a farm. She used to chase after them with her siblings. Cheap and cheerful. There's nothing like Fabergé, nothing like that. They represent my wife. So, and that's it. That's why they stay there. When she passed away, it turned out to be a happy releasement. She passed away in my arms, in her home. It's just a thing. It's a thing that I will live and take to my grave with me.
I have a lot of dishes and souvenirs and stools and bed covers from Bangladesh. And it does give a sense of comfort because although I've been here all my life, my parents grew up mostly in Bangladesh. They used to tell me a lot of stories about Bangladesh, and that makes me kind of connect to their story and connect to my heritage. The first thing about being a Muslim is having humanity within yourself, speaking up for justice, standing against cruelty. These are like, I think, natural attributes I have anyway, campaigning against cruelty and injustice. This is a civic award from the London Borough of Tower Hamlets. It was given to me for my community work. Yeah, it has a huge meaning to it. It's not because I won it, it's because it reminds me of the work I do. Political visitors from China gifted it to our local council, and that local council donated it to one of the charities we did. And then we had a raffle prize draw, and I won it. I really wanted it because of the history and the story behind it. For any mother, her child's award certificate, even from school, being Star of the Week, it's the most precious thing. My daughter won first prize. It was a Bangladeshi event. I was presenting that program. So when my daughter came on stage and was given the award, it was a happy moment, and I feel happy to have this in my house.
I live with Daddy, who's my partner, and we sort of share the house. It's really funny when I think about how I use the house. I sometimes feel that I'm recreating in sort of urban London a very traditional Italian thing where everything takes place in the kitchen. I actually designed the whole kitchen. People always say, "Oh, where's that shelf from?" And I say, "Well, look at that shelf upside down. It's actually a pelmet." What's that? Where you've got your wine glasses. Well, it was actually the case of a stereo speaker that I bought in the second-hand shop on Clarence Road, which I think might still be there. Maybe last year, Addie and I were walking in Victoria Park, and we came out in that, I don't know, trendy bit. And there was this sort of studios, and I just went, "Addie, this is amazing. I bought this Potter's mug 30 years ago." Yeah, my kitchen is very much a sort of memory kitchen where I have things from lots of different people. I've got my maternal grandmother's flour sifter. I had bought one and it had broken. So when I went back to New York, I said to my mother, "You've got two flour sifters. Can I have Nanny's one?" And she said yes. So for the past 20 years, I've used a flour sifter that actually belonged to my mother's mother. I also have a collection of Italian coffee makers. There's a special coffee maker that's used in southern Italy that you don't see much. And I always imagine that my grandmother came over on the boat from Italy with a coffee maker. When I'm making a drink, I'm actually physically touching what my grandmother's touched. And that's somehow important to me. And I always think that my grandmothers are my kitchen gods, or should I say goddesses, and that they watch over me and what I cook.
I was born in Freetown, Sierra Leone, and I would say I'm from London. I grew up in South Norwood and in the borough of Croydon, where I went to Brunel University, but I've been living and working in Hackney for the last 6 years. I collect things. Even sometimes on the roadside, I like to collect objects. The Africa sign, I collected it from the Africa Centre in Covent Garden, and the organisation was trying to raise money to save the building. They lost my enthusiasm towards building the African diaspora. It was something that I felt was really important for me to keep. Whilst we were doing building work to the jungle, which is one of my cafe, I wrote a sign out of just a building board. I left the sign outside thinking that the builders would take it away. 3 weeks later, the sign was still there. I moved it away to another part of the road where I thought somebody else would take the sign. And it ended up coming to the front and becoming my mantra. For me, mirrors are very, very important in terms of actually asking yourself questions. I normally sit and do mirror exercises, and I'll use it as a form of meditation to actually process my thoughts. My trip to Sierra Leone, which allowed me to see my father after 27 years, was very soulful and quite healing for me. The paintings were done after I came back from Sierra Leone. Doing the exhibition was a way of me actually just having closure. I wanted to touch on immigration matters because only in the last 8 months did I actually obtain my British citizenship, and I'd been in London since 1991.
I came to Hackney when I got married in 1996. Living in Hackney amongst so many people of different faiths, You learn to appreciate the bigness of the divine. I think it challenges you to sort of dig a bit deeper to what you've learned about God and explore those sort of very deep things in a very wide way. The real core of Christianity is a call to love our neighbour as we love ourselves. I think in the world we don't do a very good job at that. You'd be looking for justice for those who don't have it. And so I think my faith has led me to work in human rights because of that. When I was working with Christian Aid, we were taking supporters to visit projects from Ethiopia where women were being helped to make a living through jewellery making and all sorts of things like that. Having those things in our house remind us that the world is a big place. I think the things that I have in my house that give me most comfort are mostly things that the kids have, been involved with or made or bought us. The hope sign that my son Milo made for my husband one Christmas. The candles on the mantelpiece were made by my father-in-law, John. He had already made candlesticks for Neil's sister for her wedding, all the same, all beautifully painted white. And when we got married, we asked him if he could make everyone different. So he did that brilliantly, I think, and made about 20 candles for the tables of our wedding.